Hey guys, good morning. Okay, we're back. Hopefully the problem has fixed itself. Let me see. Okay. I did a good old fashioned, let me just restart my computer because maybe I got too many things. Maybe I've done one too many things and need to, reset, refresh, all the things I tell you guys when there's some sort of glitch. Nothing will fix it until you restart. Okay, let me just a couple things you guys mentioned. Um so number 1, good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning. It is not your imagination. We were just live. There was some technical difficulty and sis just said, "You know what? Let me just take this down." Okay, let's take it all the way down and let's forget it happened. If you're in members, then enjoy those 8 minutes of what just happened or didn't happen. Anyway, we are going to watch some of the preliminary hearing, specifically the testimony of Annette Harris, Nazia's grandmother, and Miss Shannon Harris, the baby mother to Jarvis Butts of 5 children and also resided in the house. Some of you guys had comments about Annette lying. I think Annette was lying on a couple of different things. Number one, she was trying to get those numbers correct for whatever vouchers, assistance, foster care funds that she gets. So her ratios are correct because she probably knows good and well that house was full. And she couldn't seem to get those numbers or her math right. Okay. Shannon, baby, a lot. So let's listen. I might pop in here and there. If you want to watch it uninterrupted, go to either CBS, Fox, click on Detroit. So many of the channels in Detroit were running it live or have the footage posted. You can watch it uninterrupted, but just understand here, this is a reaction channel. We do reactions, reviews, and commentary. And that's what we do. That's what we do. So we will stop, we will talk, we will do commentary, I will answer questions and all of the things. But I do think that it is definitely very compelling testimony. It's just about an hour. And like I said, I might stop a little here and there, but I think if you have not watched it, it's really, and you're following this case for many different reasons, um, it it's worth the time to listen to all of it. I am almost finished with uh Wednesday's testimony and I think I just clicked on Thursdays. So I've watched pretty much everything. And I learned a lot. I learned a lot because there was a lot of information in the preliminary hearing, and we can talk about it. But today we're going to get into Annette and Shannon's testimony, and and that's it. Let's see. Good morning, everyone. Yes, it's a lot. I think Annette and Shannon is, and it's about a little bit over an hour, and then we can talk about some other things a little bit later on this afternoon. Okay. Get into some hot topics because I've still we need to get into a couple of things outside of this. But let's do this morning. And let's see. I'm gonna put it just like this for right now. Okay, guys. All right. Good morning, everybody. Do me a favor. If you're new here, welcome. We did have a lot of new subscribers come through in the last week, definitely the last couple of days. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Hit the thumbs up if you would. If you're new here and you want to jump into the chat, be my guest. We are in subscriber mode, so hit the subscribe and jump in, tap in. Also hit the thumbs up. Hey, Glorious. Good morning. Good morning, everybody. Let's see on the replay who got here 1, 2, 3 first. Mocha Wine. Minding my business, being nosy. And Shekinah. Is it Shekinah? Good morning. Hi, Danny. Hi, Jay Blake. Good morning, everybody. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Okay, let's get into it, guys. Girl, when she starts to get into like how many people were living in the house, baby, she messes it all the way up. And and also I think I prefaced it when we were live before. I'm at Judge Sabri's Zoom room because I felt like just the perspective gave a little bit of a different view than you would have seen on any of the other channels. Yes, the other channels are going to give you a close up. If you want to see Annette and Shannon, you can go to Fox, CBS. You can go to any of the channels and see what they look like. I've posted a couple. Um, Baby, this is the best view to kind of get a good idea of what's really going on in the courtroom. On top of that, there is a microphone with a bonnet on it, and it is very annoying. It's like the microphone with the bonnet becomes a whole nother witness in and of itself. It just became like everybody who sat in the witness stand had to handle that thing. And the funny thing to me is if they put a kind of filter bonnet over it to keep it clean and sanitary, the fact that everyone had to touch it with bare hands, you know what I'm saying? Like a lot of people have handled that microphone. So I think I don't know that it really is doing what it's supposed to be doing by putting a bonnet over the actual mouthpiece of the microphone because everybody is handling it. So if it's to reduce germs, baby, everybody that touched it is everybody that touched it. You know what I'm saying? So it was funny to watch people having to handle, girl, it was a whole bonnet. It was a whole bonnet, okay? And then I'm thinking to myself, but everybody's touching it. Like it should really, I don't know. Okay, guys, let's get into this. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Tap the thumbs up on your way in. I love this view because, the judge has some files open. Her clerk is down there working. Everybody's getting organized. People are coming in. They're setting up cameras.
Don't sit down yet. All right. 36th District Court, State of Michigan City, Detroit is now in session. The Honorable Leah Sabri presiding.
You want me to have a seat? Good morning. Good morning. Mr. Butts, you can say Canada on your record. This is case 2459617, the people of state of Michigan versus Jarvis Butts. Charged with count 1, homicide, murder, first degree, premeditated. Count 2, child sexually abusive activity. Count 3, criminal sexual conduct, second degree, person under 13, defendant 17 years of age or older. With habitual offender fourth offense notice with a mandatory 25-year sentence set for a continuation of a preliminary examination that began on November 1st, 2024. Appearances.
Good morning, Your Honor. Tina Ripley on behalf of the people, P83688.
And good morning, Your Honor. Matthew Makepeace on behalf of the people, P82796.
Good morning, Your Honor. Good morning to your staff. Neighborhood Defender Services by Ken Riggins, 82125 on behalf of Mr. Jarvis Butts.
Good morning, Your Honor. Neighborhood Defender Service by Cheryl Quick, P83973, also on behalf of Mr. Butts. Yep.
I like how and I don't know if they do this all throughout Michigan, but at least in this Detroit courtroom, when the attorneys make their appearance, they give their name, they give their bar number. It makes it just a little bit more formal because oftentimes when you hear when the attorneys are introducing themselves, putting their appearance on the record, they don't always give all of that, but it's interesting.
Councilman Butler.
Yes, good morning, Honor. Lauren Butler, P88126.
And Ms. Butts, state your full name loud and clear, please. Okay, you have a seat. Any preliminary matters before we begin the testimony?
No, Judge, not the people. I do know we have, I believe it was requested in mutual order of sequestration last time, with the exception of the officer in charge, Shannon Jones, is sitting in the courtroom. I would ask that continue today and the rest of this hearing.
Okay, we try. Okay, if there's anyone in the courtroom who may testify or is a witness on this case, that means that also if you may testify at trial, if this is bound over to Third Circuit, you must exit the courtroom now. This is being streamed live also, so if there's anyone on YouTube who are viewing this remotely, who may be a witness on this case, you must exit now and not watch the testimony that you're about to. And of course, that's with the exception of the officer in charge. And with that, you call your next witness.
Thank you, Judge. At this time, people call Annette Harris.
So Annette is the grandmother. She is Nazia's grandmother. She's okay. So, Annette has she has three girls. She has Kenyatta. She has, I think it's Marquetta or what is her name? Is it Marquetta? And Shannon. She's got the twins and she's got Kenyatta. Now, we also heard Jernell mention that Annette had a son who became the ward of the state because remember, Annette had her first child at 11 years old, or Annette was pregnant at 11, and that child became a ward of the state.
You
So
swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. Watch your step, walking up the stairs.
that's according to Jernell and Kawana the other day.
Whenever Mr.
Well, that
McGee.
damn
Thank you. Could you
microphone.
state your name for the record?
Annette Harris.
And Ms. Harris, do you know someone or did you know someone by the name of Nazia Harris?
Yes,
And who is Nazia to you?
my granddaughter.
Are you her legal guardian?
Yes, I am.
When did you become her legal guardian?
I adopted Naziah back in 2016.
And that was court work or paperwork filed and all of that to legally adopt her?
Yes, it took a process.
Oh.
Yes.
And back in January of 2024, did Nazia live with you?
Yes.
I don't want to know the specific address, but what street did you live on?
Bedford.
And is that in the city of Detroit, Wayne County?
Yes, it is.
How long had Nazia been living with you at that address on Bedford?
Oh, wow. Yeah, basically, I mean, ever since I had her, I mean,
Since 2016?
well, we moved to another house.
Okay, when did you move into the Bedford?
Let me see, 2019, we moved in that house and then moved in the house that I am now, which is still on Bedford.
And did Nazia make those moves with you?
Yes.
And in January of 2024, at that Bedford location, who else lived there?
Just me, the kids. My other daughter lived with me at the other address. But it was just basically me and my kids and Shannon,
And who is Shannon?
my daughter,
And what's her last name?
Harris,
And she lived with you and Nazia and the other kids at the Bedford location?
at the first Bedford location.
Okay, at that first Bedford location, how many other kids in addition to Nazia lived there?
My other two, my grandson and my other grandchildren.
So how many kids total in that house?
6 children.
And you and Shannon, correct?
Well,
Living there.
Shannon, she was there, but she wasn't really like there all the time.
See, she can't
spent the
add.
Majority of her time at my house, but actually Shannon had her place out in Clinton Township.
And when you were there,
Look, so she says 6 kids. What's 6 kids? You had Nazia, her brother, and the 2 you adopted. Maybe she had other foster kids, but if you have Shannon's 5 or maybe 4, because Shannon was pregnant at a certain point, right? So that's 8 kids, 2 adults, 10 people. So I know she doesn't want to mess up her math. She doesn't want to lie, I'm assuming, but she probably doesn't know whether social workers watching, stuff like that. How do you not know between you and your daughter? At first, it wasn't even Shannon. She said there was another daughter. Is it maybe Marquita? Shannon's twin. Okay. Anyway, she's lying about those numbers because ma'am knows that she's living under state guidelines because she's got foster and adoption situations and probably get state funds. So she knows she can't really go above or below because ma'am gets a check based on these numbers, right? All right, let's keep going.
in January of 24, how old was Nazia at that time?
January, 24, she had 13. She had her birthday in September.
And was she going to school?
Yes, she was.
What school did she attend?
J.E. Clark Preparatory Academy.
And is that also in Detroit?
Yes, it is.
Just generally, can you tell us about your morning routine with the kids, specifically in diet, of getting them to school and things like that?
Sure. Okay, 6 a.m. is when I get the children up. They usually get up, get dressed, prepare themselves. About 7:15, 7:20, we're basically saying prayer and we're loading up in the car. I'm dropping them off at school at 7:30. Breakfast starts at 7:30 and they like to eat breakfast at school.
And is that
7:15 prayer?
Drop her off at JD.
All together, yes.
Now, I want to talk about, let me ask it this way. Did you know someone by the name of Jarvis Butts?
Yes.
And do you see Mr. Butts in the courtroom today? If you need to stand up and look around. You need glasses?
Yeah, my
Okay.
daughter has my glasses.
Okay, Judge, may I take a moment to get it also?
Yes.
Any first question?
Yes.
Thank you.
If you could just stand up and take another look around.
Okay.
Do you see Mr. Butts in the courtroom today? Could you point to him and identify a piece of clothing next to him?
Yes.
For the record, the witness has identified Jarvis Butts, the defendant in this matter.
So reflective?
And may I approach the witness again?
Yes.
Approaching with what's already been admitted as People's 9. Ms. Harris, do you recognize the person in that photo?
Yes,
And who is that person?
Jarvis Butts.
And is that the same person you've identified in court here today?
Yes.
And Ms. Harris, how did you know Mr. Butts back in January of 2024?
He's the father of my daughter's children.
And is that daughter Shannon Harris?
Yes.
Okay. How many kids did they have together?
5.
And would he come around your house on Bedford in January or the months leading up to January?
Whenever he did come, he would always pull up in a white truck, and Shannon would go out to the car, and they would sit and talk or whatever. But he would very rarely come to my house.
And during that time, when he would come around and sit in his car, was there any time that he would interact with Messiah that you saw?
Not that I remember now.
Okay. And I want to talk specifically about January 9th. You had described your morning routine with the kids. Did you follow that routine on January 9th?
Yes, I did.
And did that include dropping Messiah off at J.E. Clark, 7:15 to 7:30?
Yes.
And can you tell us what she was wearing on January 9th, 2020?
Yes, she was wearing a pair of light powdered blue jeans with a light powdered blue jacket that had the black little fur around the collar. It was like a 2-piece set.
And did you have a sweater on or a shirt on or something?
She had a shirt. She wore a shirt underneath it.
And you remember, did she have any other clothes with her on the 9th when you dropped her off?
She had her little blue sweatshirt with a little hoodie. She had that with her.
And do you know how or when she got that hoodie?
I bought that hoodie for her. I guess it was in a ball sometime. I bought it for her. I mean, it wasn't nothing new. It was just one of her old hoodie jacket she used when she go to gym.
Okay. And in terms of, if you know, the condition of that hoodie on the 9th, was it torn, ripped, damaged in any way?
No, it was really good. Like, kind of like feeling good, but she took really good things.
Okay.
Mhm.
May I approach you?
Yes.
approaching with people's proposed exhibit 12. Ms. Harris, do you recognize what I just handed you?
Yes,
And is that a picture of Nizaya?
yes.
And do you know when that picture was taken?
The same day, January the 9th, she took this picture.
Move to admit people's proposed 12.
Objection.
Objection.
Is it as people do as well?
And when you dropped Nizaya off at J.E. Clark, what was the routine supposed to be after school was over?
Okay, well, school is over, the bell rings at 2:40. Desire, was due, to come home. And normally, when the bell rings, 2:40, 2:45, she's getting on the bus.
And was that's what she normally did on other days?
Mhm.
Is that a yes?
Yes, I'm sorry.
And what time would she normally arrive back at home?
The Desire would be walking in through the door, maybe 3:05, no later than that.
And on January 9th, did she walk in at 3:05?
No, she did not.
And were you home when she didn't come home?
I was there for a little while, but I left out to run some errands. But no, when I got to the house, she was not there.
And at that time, did you have a conversation with someone else about her not coming home? Was I not coming home?
Yeah, when I picked my children up from, the after-school program, I went in and my daughter said,
Objection to what our daughter said. Hearsay.
I'll rephrase the question.
Okay, so thank
Just talking about what you saw and heard, and not asking for what anybody said, but did you talk to Shannon, your daughter?
yes,
About
Shannon said she was not there.
when you got home that day on the 9th, was Nizaya there?
No,
And did you eventually make a police report about her missing?
yes, I did.
And when did you do that?
That morning, when I got to school, I went up to drop the kids off to school. I talked with the, dean, and the principal. And, I told them that I was on my way, to the police station. And they told me that they would call the police, and the police, DPS police came there.
And you said DPS, is that Detroit Public Schools?
Yeah,
And did you talk to an officer, at that time at the school?
yes, I did.
And was that at J.E. Clark physically at that location?
Yes,
And you said that morning, are you talking about the morning of the 10th?
yes. Mhm.
Was Nizaya, active on social media, if you know?
Well, as far as I know, she was, I mean, there were times when she was snooping on, and, but yeah, she was.
Okay. And did you keep track of her social media pages like TikTok, or Facebook, or anything like that?
I tried, a lot of times, I would take her phone and stuff with her, so, to keep her from being on there.
Let me say this real quick. Someone was saying they used to have to call every time they came home. When Shannon testifies, they ask her, how did you become aware that Nizaya had not made it home yet? And Shannon said one of the kids, someone had questioned her. Someone asked her where Nizaya was. And that was the first that she became aware that Nizaya wasn't home or hadn't made it home. Okay. Just wait till you hear that.
And after the 9th, did you ever see any posts made by Nizaya?
I didn't see any posts. Most of the time, if there was a post or something, or she posts, my daughter or someone would call me and tell me.
Have you ever heard after the 9th, ever heard any communication or seen Nizaya? When, is that a no?
No,
And when you dropped her off on the 9th at school at J.E. Clark, was that the last time you saw her?
yes.
Okay, one moment, George.
Yes.
Just to follow up, I did forget to ask this. Her bus stop, how far from your house was that in walking distance?
5 minutes.
Okay, do you know where the location that she got dropped off at was, the address or the intersection?
Right there, the 3-mile drive in Cornwall.
And that's 5 minutes from your house?
Yeah.
And did Nizaya have any nicknames that people called her?
Where her family called her, Tilly. But I've always called her Clarence. I've been calling her Harris since she was born.
Say glamour.
Glamorous.
Oh. We have one more judge.
You said two? Two.
Mhm.
I have another question.
Good morning.
Now, you are Nazia's maternal grandmother, correct?
Correct,
You're also her adopted parent, correct?
correct.
And you said you adopted her in 2016?
Yeah, children, yeah, 16.
Sherry. Is her birth mother still around?
She is.
Okay, does she have a relationship with her?
No.
She doesn't have any type of relationship, no contact with her that you know of?
Let me say this, I don't deal with my daughter, so she really didn't have really no contact with Messiah like that. She only came around now and then.
And you testified that you currently stay on Bedford Street?
Yes,
And in fact, I think you testified you live on 2 houses on Bedford Street.
correct.
And did not Desire have friends on Bedford Street that you were aware of?
She had friends, but, her friends didn't live on Bedford.
Okay. Do you know if she ever had any friend over?
No,
Did she ever spend the night at any of these friends' houses?
no,
And at your prior neighborhood, did she have friends that she may have spent the night over?
no.
You indicated that there are approximately 6 children in the house.
Well, not now. When he asked me
At
about
that
the
time?
address.
Yes.
I lived at 2 houses, which is on the same street of Bedford.
Okay.
Okay, so the house that we lived in before, it was my children and my daughter's children.
Your daughter being Shannon,
No, Marquita.
Marquita. Okay. And did Naziah have any close relationship with any of these children particularly?
She was close with, my granddaughter, one of my granddaughters, yeah.
Which grandmother is that?
I'm sorry, I mean, Janaya. All of their different names, I see.
Okay. And Janaya is Shannon's daughter?
Yes,
That would be Jarvis's daughter as well, correct?
correct.
And at your Bedford Street address, how many adults live there?
Just me and Shannon.
Okay. When did Shannon move in to Bedford?
Oh. It's, back in, October, that's October or something.
That would be October of 23?
Yeah.
Okay. So in January of 24, she was there, correct?
Mhm.
Sorry, is that yes?
Yes, yes.
And you indicated that Naziah participated in social media?
She did participate in social media. She was on social media a lot of times when she wasn't supposed to be.
So did you see her post or did you follow her post?
I didn't see her really posted anything. I mean, at times when I did check, I didn't find anything. And most of the time when she did post something, my daughter's would let me know that she posted something.
So you don't know who her social media friends were?
The only person that I know that was one of her classmates, that she would post little things with one of her classmates.
But it's fair to say there are some things you did not know.
Yeah, well, something, yeah. Mhm.
Now, you indicated that you drove Naziah to school every day, correct?
Correct.
Who else went to school with Naziah?
My other 2 children, Shannon's children.
Okay. And what type of student was Naziah?
Ms. I was a very good student, very knowledgeable, very outgoing. She got good grades. Her attendance was good. The teachers had no problem with her. They really liked Ms. I. Ms. I got along with just about anybody. She was very likable.
Did she have any disciplinary problems?
No,
Do you recall her ever getting into a fight?
she did.
One fight, more than one fight?
There was a young lady that she had, couple of, consultations with, in school. And it was like an ongoing thing, situation.
Okay, and when did this first start?
I'm not quite sure when it started, but it was like off and on, with this particular schooling that she had.
And this is for her current school, right?
Yes.
Okay. Now, did Desire participate in any extracurricular activities? Was she on band or anything?
She liked it, gym, robotics, art. I mean, she liked a lot of things that she was involved in.
And would any of these things cause her to have stayed after school?
The only time she stayed after school was when she wanted to be enrolled in the after-school program.
Just a moment. Just want to step back a moment. We asked you about your for social media. You said there were some things that you weren't aware of on social media, correct? Did you ever check her direct messages?
Like I said, I did, but when I did, there was nothing on there.
There was nothing. Okay. Did you monitor any of her conversations?
Yeah, I would, go check,
Okay.
but like I said, a lot of times, I took an advice habit, from her, at one point, so there was really nothing that I knew of that she was on unless she got something like cell phone or something,
So you did mention that she had a tablet. How many devices did she have that allowed her to connect to social media?
She only had that one tablet in her home. I said I took the tablet and put the tablet up.
So on January 9th, you took her to school, correct?
Correct.
And you said it was her and two of your other children? that went to school?
My 2 other children and, daughter's children.
And you said that you noticed that she did not come home at her normal time.
Right.
All right. You did not call the police then, correct?
No, driving around looking for her. My daughter reached out to some of her classmates. I did, nothing. And that morning, I got up, and like I said, I went straight to the school. And from there, I was on my way to the police station to make the report, and, they called the, police from there. DPS police came to the school.
So the first report you made to police was the next morning.
Yes.
You know approximately what time?
I got there, school starts at 7:30, so I got there at 7:30. They got there about, I don't know, maybe 8.
So you didn't go to the precinct, you went to the school, hall.
Yes, they called the police because I was getting ready to leave, and the dean said, "No, stay here." She said, "We'll call police."
Now, you mentioned that you are familiar with Mr. Butts, correct?
I know Mr. West.
Okay. And he dated your daughter Shannon, correct?
Correct.
They did have 5 children, correct?
Correct.
And did all the children stay with you and Shannon?
Yeah.
Now, I don't want to get too much detail on the kids. What were the mix, boys and girls?
Can you repeat that?
What were the mix of the kids, boys and girls?
Well, I have a boy and girl. And Shannon has her 3 boys and 2 girls.
So she had 3 boys and the 2 girls. And at any time, now, I think you did indicate that Mr. Butts would come over and I think you said he rarely come in, correct?
Mhm.
But he would come in on occasion, correct?
Not really on occasions, because most of the time when he came in, he would pull up in my driveway and my daughter would go out to the truck. And a lot of times the kids would go out to the truck. So it was very rare if he ever came in my house.
And you indicated that you were close, I'm sorry, you were close with Naziah.
Yes.
Can you think of any reason that Naziah would not share information with you?
No.
Let me say this. Notice how, so is that not weird? Your grandchildren's father can't come in the house. So she's making it seem as though Jarvis never came in the house. I'm not saying she said he never came in the house, but when Jarvis would come, according to her, he would usually be in the car. Why? Because this lady is damn near running a public facility at her house. She gets state money. So she's not going to admit on the stand that you had a whole convicted sex offender pedophile who fathered 5 kids with your daughter up in your house. Hello? And then when he asked how many kids are in the house or what's the makeup of the kids, like 3 boys, 2 girls, 3 whatever the deal is, she says I had a boy and a girl. Okay, you have an adopted boy and girl, but what about Naziah and her brother? So you had 4 kids, right? Plus Shannon's 5 kids and whatever other grandkids, right? Janelle said that there could be 11, 9, 10, 11 kids in the house at any given time. So that man, I don't know, what's his name? Damn, Jarvis's lawyer doesn't seem like to have caught that. And maybe he doesn't want to split hairs over that because that's not really his goal or his objective at this point, to catch her in a lie about the population in the household. But the way she's dancing around answering specifically to Jarvis entering the home is because you had to know that this guy, you're going to have to answer the questions about allowing this man into your home, and you have government kids, you got a government situation going on with foster and adoptive children who are receiving benefits and things of that nature, and just your responsibility to the household allowing this man inside. I can't believe for a minute you didn't let your daughter's father up in the house. I don't believe it.
Naziah would come to me and talk to me all the time. If something was bothering her or she had a bad day in school, she'll come to me and we'll sit and talk about it. I always kept the door open for communication with Naziah and with really all of my children. So she always felt free, come to me and sit down and talk to me about whatever.
So if something was frustrating Naziah, she would come with you? If something,
That I know of, yes.
right, if something was scaring Naziah, she would come to you?
If something was bothering her or she was frustrated about something, she would come to me and say, hey, man, I'm gonna talk to you.
If there was any medical condition, she would come to you regarding that?
I believe she would, yes.
You take her to the hospital, take her to the doctor?
Yes.
Okay. Just a moment. Thank you. I have no other questions.
Can you redirect?
Ms. Harris, I just have a couple more questions for you. When Mr. Reagan was asking you questions, you said that Mr. Butts would come and sit in his car, right, outside your house?
Yes.
And you said that the kids would go out to the car.
Yes.
Which kids would go out to the car?
His kids.
Would Naziah ever go with his kids out to the park?
If Shannon was out there, she would.
Oh. And Mr. Reagan also asked you about the tablet that you bought for Naziah. Do you remember those questions?
Yes.
And when, if you can remember, narrow that down, when did you buy that tablet for?
I had that tablet for her one Christmas. I think it was the Christmas. I think it was in 22 when I bought that tablet, at the end of 22 when I bought that tablet for her.
So December of 22.
Yeah, I think when I bought that tablet.
So she would have had that tablet for roughly just over a year, correct?
Correct.
Oh. And did Nizaya also have access to a cell phone?
The only cell phone she had access to was, one of the cell phones when my oldest daughter came to visit me. She gave to Desire, but, she could only use it by Wi-Fi.
You said your oldest daughter, is that Nizaya's biological mother?
Yes.
And through, what's your oldest daughter's name?
Yeah, yes.
Through Annette Harris, Nizaya got access to a phone?
Mhm.
Is that a yes?
Yes.
Mr. Reagan's also asked you about Nizaya staying after school. You said that there was an after-school program she was involved in.
Yes.
On January 9th and in January of 24, was she still involved in that program?
No, I took her out of it because, she was having, problems with one of her schoolmates at that time. The same person that he asked me about before, but she didn't belong.
The same person Mr. Reagan's asked you about.
Absolutely.
And so on the 9th, she was not supposed to stay after school. correct?
No, she's supposed to come straight.
And when she didn't come home, you said that you were driving around looking for her, correct?
Yeah.
Can you tell us a little bit more about what efforts you made on the 9th to locate her?
When I went to the school to go pick my son and daughter up, because they were also in the after-school program, picked them up, went back to the house. I thought she was there, and when I got to the house and I found out that she wasn't there, I got back in the car and I went back up to the school. And by that time, nobody was there. Nobody was at the school. So now, I'm kind of like, I'm frustrated. Now I'm going like, because whenever she wants to stay after school or do something, she would always call me, hey, Nana, can I stay after school? Or she would call one of her TTs, hey, TT, can I stay after school? So that wasn't like her, so I'm really frustrated now. So now I go back to the house and I'm talking to my daughter, Shannon.
I don't want to stop you right there because I don't want to go into what anybody else said.
Okay.
But you went back to the school, nobody was at the school, you went back to the house, Nizaya's still not there, correct?
Correct.
Did you go back out looking for her after that?
I did.
Where did you go?
I was driving around in the neighborhood, everywhere. I'm just looking, just like hoping I'll see her,
Yeah, one more. On the 9th, when you were looking for her, well, let me ask you this way. Did you know Nizaya to go to Mr. Butts' place of work to assist him with anything there?
Yes, there was a couple of times that, she went with his daughter and they went up there to go, clean up in the shop.
And how would they get there?
He would come and pick them up.
And was that in that white truck that you talked about earlier?
Yes. Mhm.
And did you yourself know where Mr. Butts worked at?
Yes.
Okay, do you know where is that?
It was Frank's, shop located on, Warren, East Warren.
And is that the last place that you knew him to work? Or did you know him to work somewhere else?
I knew him to work there and then, the shop moved to a different location.
Did you know where that new location was?
Personally, no.
Okay. And did you ever, on the 9th, did you ever try to go to Mr. Butts' place of work to look for himself?
On the 9th, no.
Not a great question.
Just heard it, don't testify. Watch your step.
Okay, so Shannon's coming up. She'll be coming up next. And that's Shannon Harris, the daughter of Annette, the sister of Kenyatta, the auntie to Nizaya, the baby mother of Jarvis.
First, I would like to move for the admission of People's Proposed Exhibits 15 and 16 pursuant to MRE 8036. They are certified records of text mail messages Exhibit 15 is messages from September 24th, 2022 through November 7th, 2022. And Exhibit 16 is messages from March 4th, 2023 through January 9th of 2024.
No objection for exam purposes, pending analysis under 403, assuming that they're relevant.
Okay, so we a minute, as people to give it 15 and 16, you said?
Yes, that's right. And at this time, people will call Shannon Harris.
You swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. Watch out, please. Have a seat. Everybody,
Thank you. Good morning. Could you please state your name for the record?
Shannon Harris,
And Ms. Harris, how old are you?
31.
And back on January, or in January 2024, where did you live?
With my mom. Resides with my mother.
With your mother? Okay, who's your mom?
Annette Harris.
And without telling me the exact address, what street did you live on?
Bedford.
And do you have any children?
Yes.
How many kids do you have?
5.
And do all your kids have the same dad?
Yes.
Who's their dad?
JARVIS BUTTS.
And do you see Jarvis Butts in the courtroom today?
Yes.
And can you point to him and tell me the color of the clothing that he's wearing?
Green. No, green.
Green. Your Honor, would the record reflect the witnesses identified the defendant in this case?
so reflective.
Thank you, Judge. And so your mom's name is Annette. Do you have any sisters?
Yes, 2.
What are their names?
Annette Harris and Marquita Harris.
Are they older, younger, or something else?
Other, Marquita is a twin. She's my twin, same age.
And Kenyatta is older?
Yes.
Do you have any nieces and nephews?
Yes.
Do you know someone named Neziah Harris?
Yes.
What's your relationship to her?
My relationship to her, she is my niece from her aunt.
Okay. And whose daughter is she?
My older sister is Kenyatta Harris.
And did you have any nicknames for Neziah?
Yes.
So notice how they never talk about Annette's son. If you guys go back to the live that we watched Friday, Jernell and Kawana talked about so Jernell said her dad and her grandmother got Annette when Annette was 11 and she was pregnant and had a son. He became a ward of the state. So I guess they just forget about him because the sisters don't even, or this sister at least, doesn't even seem like they acknowledge the brother because maybe because she gave him up or he became a ward of the state. Maybe Annette doesn't count him anymore. They don't have anything to do with him because you see how Annette was like, yeah, I don't have anything to do with Kenyatta. But we'll find out from Shannon in this testimony that and this is what Shannon says, because Annette didn't mention that. Annette said she went up to Detroit Public Schools to report Neziah missing the following morning. She never mentions that she did that with Kenyatta. So Shannon's going to say, actually, Kenyatta went with Annette that morning to report her missing. You're going to hear like Annette leaves out details, okay?
We all call her Tuda.
And is that Tudda?
Yes.
And did Neziah ever know Jarvis through you?
Yes.
And when did Neziah and Jarvis first meet?
When she was little, like age 2.
And can you kind of describe the relationship between Neziah and Jarvis?
Should be just the uncle and the niece relationship, no more than that.
How often would Jarvis be around, like at your house with you?
He will call or say, can he come see the kids, or the kids will ask him to see their dad, and he will come, pull up either to my house where I used to live, or at my mother's.
Would Desire ever be around?
All the kids will be around.
To your knowledge, would Desire ever text Jarvis?
From my knowledge, no, unless I will have her to text.
But to your knowledge, you didn't know of any kind of separate outside relationship.
No.
Would there ever be times where, where did you know Jarvis Butts to work?
Pardon?
Where did you know Jarvis Butts to work?
Where did I know him to work at?
Yes.
He worked at 2 different locations. The first location would be on East Warren, and the other location would be on Gresham.
And what were those locations?
Those are the auto repair shop.
Okay. Would you ever know Desire to help Jarvis Butts at his shop?
Yes, he will, call me and say, hey, if I can get our daughter and Messiah, I'm gonna work up at the shop. And I would say, let me ask my mom first, regarding Messiah.
And which daughter of yours would that be?
That would be my oldest, Janiyah.
Would you ever know Desire to go to Jarvis's shop alone?
No.
Whose birthday is on or around September of 26th?
That's my my 4th oldest birthday.
Do you recall a birthday party on September 26th of 2022?
Yes.
And was Jarvis there?
No.
Okay, and that would have been his son's birthday party?
Yes.
Were there ever times that you would text Jarvis off of a text now number?
The only time I would text Jarvis off the text now number is if my phone is off. Other than that, no.
And do you recall the numbers that you would text Jarvis from?
Yes.
Okay. And does a 586-510-5161 sound familiar?
Yes.
And what number is that?
That used to be my old number.
And is that number that you would text Jarvis from?
Yes.
And what about a 586-842-4504?
That was the number before this number.
Before the 510 number?
Correct.
Okay, and is that a number you would also text Jarvis from?
Correct.
And what number did you have for Jarvis Butts?
The 313-585-8719.
And did you have any numbers for Messiah?
It was a funny looking area code. The area code was a 231.
Okay. I want to show you some messages from People's Exhibit 16 and ask you some questions about them, okay? You're in a man approach? Yes. I'm going to direct you to messages on or about June 27th, 2023. Do you recall those messages? Did you send any of those messages to Jarvis Butts?
No.
Okay. And do you know phone number here that's highlighted? Whose phone number do you know that to be?
Jarvis Butts.
Okay, and you don't recall ever sending any of those messages?
No.
Okay. And now I want to direct you to messages from June 28th, 2023. How about any of these? Did you send any of these to Jarvis Butts?
No.
What about any messages from July 2nd, 2023? Did you send any of those messages?
No.
What about messages from August 26th, 2023? You sent any of those to Dark Spots?
I'm sorry, we still in this.
August 26th.
No. These aren't my messages.
Did Jarvis Butts ever tell you that Messiah texted him to meet up on January 9th, 2024?
No.
Did you tell Jarvis Butts about not being able to locate Messiah on January 9th, 2024?
Yes.
And tell me, how did you tell him that?
I called him, he didn't answer. I sent him a message asking him had he seen Twitter in your box. And he said no Twitter, and he responded
I
back.
didn't hear what you said, the last part.
I texted him, well, first I called him, he didn't answer. The second time I sent him a message, still no Twitter. He replied back, oh, wow.
Okay, thank you.
And Chairman, approach.
Yes.
And just for record references, I'm showing her somebody post People's Exhibit 48. Ms. Harris, that those text messages that you just referenced, you can see those on this page.
Yes.
And so it's fair to say you stated to Mr. Butts, first of all, whose phone number is this at the top?
The phone number is my old phone number,
Okay, and who is the phone number below that?
Jarvis Vlogs.
And is this, I guess, is this fairly accurately represent these two messages? Six messages sent between you and Mr. Butts on January 9th, 2024 through January 11th, 2024.
The first page is, yes, it's correct. Second page. It's correct. Yes.
And so on January 9th, like you had indicated before, you had stated that you told them that there was still no touch.
Correct.
Okay, and you said he responded, oh, wow.
Sure.
Okay. And on January 11th, is I still missing?
Yes.
Okay, and did you ask Mr. Butts to do something?
Yeah, at this point, I decided that if she's going to read from the text message, just initiate it.
And you would move into it.
No, it is fairly accurately represent text messages between you and your phone to represent his phone between this start back some from December 3rd, 2023 through January 21st of 2024. These fairly accurately represent text messages between
Yes.
your phone to Mr. Butts and his phone.
Yes.
You're not the admission of people's proposals, you said at 48. No objection.
Okay,
Thank you. So on January 11th, did you ask Mr. Butts to do something?
Yes.
And what did you ask him to do?
I asked him, can he share the missing flyer on his Facebook page?
Okay, and did you send him a copy of that missing flyer?
Yes.
Okay, and To backtrack, just a little bit, on December 3rd, 2023, do you recall, sending messages asking, Mr. Butts if he needed the Zion grant?
Yes, I do remember.
Okay, so do you remember this text on the first page of was exhibit 48?
Yes, I do remember this message.
Okay, and did you send that message?
Yes.
Okay, and what did the message say?
To the said, do you still need her?
Okay, and do you know where's that referring to?
It was, Tilla had asked me to contact Jarvis and see if he still needed them.
That we to clean up his shop?
Yes.
Okay. And to fast forward, on January 21st, 2024, you sent some messages to Mr. Butts, that fair to say?
Yes.
Okay, and can you read these last 3 messages?
The first 3 messages is, to be honest, these messages have seen into the inbox to you. I really don't know what to believe anymore. Still, Ray Ramon, I mean it. The next message is, I don't know what to say or to this one. Since this shit doesn't sit right with me, call it what you want. I'm good, period. This is, this for life. Nigga, I thought about it, and you can pass it. And don't call me, don't need to explain shit. I already see it.
Okay, so you were referencing some messages that you saw in Tuna's inbox.
Correct.
Tell me, how did you see some messages? First of all, where are these messages, where were they at?
The day of, Officer Gardner gave me picked up Nazaya's tablet. My mom asked me to put it on the charger. I put it on the charger. Officer Gardner, well, you know, after that, Officer Gardner called and said she's on her way.
You're saying.
Without saying what.
Okay, I'm sorry. The officer had called and said that they was on their way.
Still hearsay.
The tablet.
Okay.
Okay, so,
Sustain, as far as hearsay.
yeah, thank you, Judge. Okay, continue.
So the tablet, before the tablet was picked up, I looked inside Tilla's tablet. She has 2 passwords that I normally know. So one of them is referenced for her brother's birthday, and the other one is referenced for my password. So I put the first password in, it didn't work. So I put the second password in. So the first thing I went to was Instagram, which I was scrolling, and I seen Jarvis Butts' Instagram page. I clicked on his page, and I seen 2 messages.
Okay, and what were the messages that you saw? Well, who were they between, first of all?
Nazaya, my niece, and Jarvis.
And what were the messages that you see?
It was roughly 2 messages that I have seen that I can recall. You know, states.
I'm gonna object to this hearsay. They have not been admitted, and the messages themselves will be the evidence.
Were they of any? Were the messages of a sexual nature?
No,
And you said you saw 2 messages.
yes.
Okay, did you see anything else?
It was 2 sent pictures, but you can't really make anything out. There wasn't nothing there, but you know, it was a picture was sent.
What did seeing those messages, what did they cause you to do?
Well, when I see no messages, I called him,
Who's that?
Jarvis Butts.
Okay.
Called him while he was at work, asked him, what is these messages I seen between you and my niece? And he said, what messages? Said it's 2 particular messages that states out in this picture. And he stated that, I don't know, these messages, I told him what the messages were, and he said it was probably our children's messaging. And I stated no, because I know how our children will text.
And reading those messages, is that what caused you to text
Mr. Butts? yes.
Mr. Butts in that you see the messages in the inbox and you don't really know what to believe anymore?
Correct.
So, Sharon, I want to take you back to January 9th. Were you home that day?
Yes,
Okay. And did you see Nazaya that day?
my senior did, that morning, correct.
And you remember what she was wearing at all?
Her coat and her uniform at the time, she had on some blue jeans. I don't really recall the outfit. I just know the coat
Okay.
she had.
And what was the coat that she had on?
She had on is a 90s coat with all the characters on it.
And you recall seeing her wearing that the morning of January 9th?
Correct.
And you're under management, was already admitted, exhibit 2.
Yes.
I'm going to show you was exhibit 2. You tell me, do you recognize the coat in this photo?
Yes.
And whose coat do you recognize that?
Ms. Ice.
Now, after you when you saw Keziah that morning, what did you do the rest of the morning?
Nothing, I was at home with my mom and my 2 children.
And do you,
Okay, what did you do the rest of the morning? I was at home with my mom and my 2 children. So nobody goes to work. And keep in mind, Annette might be, I don't know, Annette could be 50, maybe. But she started having kids at 11, so I think she gives a little older look. But Annette might be 50 because Shannon's 31, okay? She could be in her late 40s. I don't know how old Annette is, but nobody's going to work.
ever leave the house at any point that day?
No, I was at the house the whole day.
And do you know what time Keziah would normally get home from school?
On certain days, she will stay for after school, and then on certain days she will come home. The days she will stay for after school is 6. And the days that she don't is at 3 o'clock.
And on January 9th, do you know if Keziah had the after school program?
Yes, at that time, my mom took her out of the after school program, so she will come home directly at 3 o'clock.
Okay, and were you home at 3 o'clock?
Yes,
And did you see Keziah come home?
no,
And did you see her come home at all the rest of the night?
no,
Did you leave at any point after 3 o'clock?
no,
Did you, yes, when Keziah didn't come home, did that cause you to experience or feel any type of way?
it did, when she didn't come home is when my mom went to go pick up the other 2 children from the after school program. They knocked on the door and, they had asked questions that,
Objection, sounds like you're saying.
You have a response or?
A question isn't hearsay.
I think she said.
It's just a question.
I think she was getting ready to say a question. Okay.
What was the question? What was the question? that was asked?
The 2 children had asked me, mom said, did you,
That's the hearsay.
did Keziah come home?
The hearsay is mom said.
Okay, so were you asked directly whether Keziah came home?
So my mom was in the car, I was inside the house. They was coming to the house, walking up to the door. When I opened the door, they asked me, mom said, did Keziah come home? I said, no,
And wasn't Keziah home at all?
no.
Okay. And did you do any sort of looking for Keziah that night?
Yes.
What did you do?
I called my sister. I called some of her friends that I know that stays close by. If they had seen Keziah, heard from Keziah and everything. And when I reached out to my sister, she said no. Her friends said no. So after that, I asked my mom, and she wanted me to call police. She said no, she will take it up in the morning.
And did you know Keziah to have a pair of red and black Nike shoes?
Yes.
And if I showed you a picture of them, you'd be able to identify them.
Yes.
Turner, may I approach? Yes. And for the record, this is going to be from People's Proposed Exhibit 14, and it'll be picture 34. Do you recognize these shoes?
Yes, that's a pair of shoes that mom bought for her birthday.
Now, back on the 9th, you said, your mom was going to file a police report in the morning.
Sure.
Okay, did you go with her to file a police report in the morning?
No, it was my older sister.
Did you do anything on the 10th as it relates to trying to find Isaiah?
Yes, we went out, I and some others went out to go get some pictures, made copies. We went to the stores, got off flyers and everything that we need to do. Now, what was asked of us to do.
And since January 9th, 2024, have you seen Isaiah?
No.
Have you, since January 9th, 2024, have you heard from Isaiah?
No.
Nothing for that this time, Judge. Thank you, Judge.
Ms. Harris, I also have some questions. You and Mr. Butts have been, or you've known him for about 12 years?
Correct.
And fair to say that you were in a dating relationship with him most of that time? But towards the end, like last year, it was more off and on, fair to say?
No, it's on and off years.
For years, okay. But you had 5 children with him?
Correct.
And this relationship that you had with him, even towards the end when it was on, it was a sexual relationship, right? Sometimes you go to a hotel to have sex with him,
Correct. Yes.
and that hotel was the Park Rest Inn.
Or sure.
There was more than one,
Yes.
but one of them was the Park Rest. So yes,
Correct.
and it says in Harper Woods,
Correct.
on Harper.
The Park Crest Hotel is the same hotel that he took Naziah to. Okay. I don't understand how you can call a dating relationship even though they're on and off again. I can buy on and off again. Dating and 5 kids, that's not dating. Dating is dating. Dating, you don't have kids. I'm sorry. On and off again sexual relationship, like just call it what it is. That is putting the wrong spin on dating. Make no mistake, that's not dating. Dating is someone taking you out and not helping themselves and getting you pregnant. Okay, that's not dating. It's an on and off again sexual relationship where you allowed him to father you 5 children. Okay, and then you gave him uncle benefits, sick perverted uncle benefits, because he can't be an uncle to Naziah when he's not your husband, sis. Yes, he's the father to those kids, but he's the father to his kids. An uncle marries your aunt. I just want to clarify that, okay?
Correct.
Do you know if Mr. Butts, or do you suspect that Mr. Butts has taken other women to those motels also?
Correct.
You do? I believe you said that you have, of your 5 children with him, 2 are girls?
Yes.
And 3 are boys?
Correct.
And in January of this time, well, January 2023, you were living with your mother on Bedford, correct?
Correct.
Prior to that, were you living in Clinton Township?
Correct.
When did you leave the Clinton Township home and move to the Bedford home?
October 23.
And so there were times when you were in Clinton Township that Mr. Butts would travel out there to see the kids.
Correct.
And then when you moved to the Bedford address, he would go to the Bedford address to see the kids.
Correct.
And then the Bedford address is when Isaiah was also living there, correct?
Correct.
And I believe you just testified that on January the 9th, you were living at that house on Bedford, and you were there during the day.
Correct.
And so were you one of the first people that realized that Isaiah did not come home when she was expected to be home?
No, I didn't realize it until I had got a question. by the other kids that asked that I have anxiety or have. And I said, no.
Do you remember what time that was in the afternoon?
That was in the evening, my mom picked them up, 6 o'clock.
So that was about 3 hours later than she normally should have been home.
Correct.
Was that surprising?
Yes, it was. One, we thought that she was at the after-school program, but it didn't dawn on no one until my mom came back to the house and she wasn't here or she wasn't in the car when they got out.
So when you all realized that she wasn't at school and she wasn't at home, was that surprising?
Yes,
But you didn't go to the kids that night.
no,
She ever not returned home previously?
no, this is her first time ever doing this.
Did she have friends in the neighborhood, that she would go visit?
Yes,
And you said, are those folks that you contacted to ask?
yes.
You were just shown a pair of red and black Nike shoes, right?
Correct.
And, you identified those shoes as being Nazia's shoe. Is that correct?
Correct.
It's a shoe that looks like the shoe that Nazia is wearing, right?
Correct.
You can't say for sure that that exact
Yes.
shoe came from Nazia, is that fair to say?
Correct.
And I think you testified that very rarely would you ever use text now to contact Mr. Butts.
Right.
Only if your phone was turned off,
Right.
and that was not very often.
Right.
Would Nazia ever have access to your phone to use it?
Yes, like she would ask, hey, TT, can I see your phone? Sure, I would not, yes,
And so would she text from that phone?
probably, yes,
Did you ever notice any text from
no,
her on your phone?
no.
Did you ever notice that she had used your text now app?
No, the only time when, I would notice something is say if me and Jarvis would, we won't be on the same page in eye to eye, and I would call him and say, why you will call me, or like, why you continue to keep calling me? And I'll say, I haven't called you all day, or in 2 days, and I would go ask my kids, like, hey, are y'all calling me all day, because I haven't called him.
And until you looked in Nazia's Instagram account, did you ever notice anything on your phone that caused you to be concerned between
No,
Nazia and Mr. Butts?
no,
Mr. Buttsy said would come to the house to see his kids. He would drop them off at the house sometimes. He would take them places.
yes,
He would pick Janaya up from there.
like, depending on, like, if he will pick up the kids, if I need him to pick up the kids from the pick up or drop off spot, for school, he will do that, yeah.
And then take them either to Clinton Township when you lived there or to the Bedford Street address.
Correct.
Okay. But most times he wouldn't even come to the house, right?
He will come to the house, he will call me first before he will come.
Would he come into the house physically or would he sit in his truck outside?
50%, he will sit in the car and wait till the kids come outside, or he will knock on the door.
Would he be in the house for any length of time?
Only if I'm inside the house.
Like he was visiting with you?
Oh,
Yes.
okay, Annette. So he was in the house. I mean, Annette said he wasn't in the house. Shannon says he would come in the house if she was in the house. So, I mean, look, two things can be true at the same time. But Annette, your only job is to monitor that door and watch those children. That's what you get paid for. That's how I'm assuming that's how the rent get paid or whatever. I'm assuming. Okay. You say Jarvis never came in the house. It was outside. Your daughter says he would knock on the door and come in to see his 5 children that live there. Okay. So, you know what I'm saying? Like, come on now, Annette. Annette is trying to make sure that she's trying to not look bad because you had a unregistered, off the grid sex offender who was lazy about checking in and unfortunately wasn't adequately updated to the registries as he should have been. But he did get registered, but he wouldn't check in like he was supposed to. And just a mess. But still, he was a convicted sex offender, and they knew this. They knew this.
So you never knew a time that Mr. Butts would have been alone in the house with Messiah?
No,
Can't think of a time when he had been in the house and had gone down to the basement with her,
no,
or any other room in the house alone.
no,
Would Mr. Butts have ever been at that house if another adult, like you or your mother, weren't there?
he will, what you said,
Would Mr. Butts ever be at the house if you or your mother weren't there?
no, it will be me or another person.
The idea that anything was going on between Mr. Butts and Messiah is shocking to you, right?
Correct.
You had no idea.
No,
You never noticed anything between Messiah and Mr. Butts that made you concerned.
no,
You never saw any inappropriate behavior.
not at all.
You didn't notice Mr. Butts paying any special attention to her.
No.
Certainly, if you had noticed that, that would have caused you concern.
It would have raised a whole bunch of red flags.
Likely, you wouldn't have invited him into the house, correct?
Correct.
You found it hard to believe even that Mr. Butts would hurt Messiah.
But I won't know, I don't know, what people do if a person's back is up against the wall.
But the thought of that was hard for you, at least at one point, to believe, correct?
Sure.
Now, during the time that you and Mr. Butts were together, he had children with other women,
Correct,
pretty consistently with other women,
correct,
more than one woman.
correct.
Some of those women you actually knew about, correct? They lived kind of even in the same neighborhood on the east side. But you suspect that there were women that you didn't know about,
Correct.
even one that lived, or more than one that lived over on the west side.
Correct.
You believe he was going out there to see somebody around the end of 2023, January 2024.
Correct.
Before January the 9th, you had a conversation with Messiah about a location on Outer Drive in Belfort,
Yes,
and that was surprising to you, right?
correct,
That's on the east side of Detroit.
yes.
Did you end up giving her directions on how to get to that location?
Yes.
Why did you give her directions?
I was just getting out the shower and just getting myself together. She asked me, she said, "Hey, TT," she said, "Where is, Balfour Line Drive?" And I told her, I said, "You know exactly where Balfour Line Drive is at." I said, "Outer Drive is right where the, wine basket at," and I said, "You know where Balfour is." And she was like, "I get Balfour and Bedford mixed up." So I said, "You already know Balfour is before Bedford." So she said, "Okay." She said, "Because we are in school and we are learning about our surroundings." So I said, "Okay." But that was the only two things that she had was where it was on my drive in Balfour.
Does that location have any special significance to you?
No,
Do you know anybody at that location?
no, the only thing that I'm used to, I'm familiar with is just picking up JARVIS on how to drive in Balfour. It's just on the corner.
On the corner,
Mhm.
not at an address.
Not on address.
When was this conversation that you had about that location? Do you recall?
This was right before, this island,
Like how soon before? Weeks?
maybe like, it was still like in that same week. She went missing.
Mr. Butts didn't have his own vehicle, fair to say.
No, he didn't.
He generally used,
It's female vehicles.
did you know Mr. Butts to park at one location and then walk to another to kind of try to remain undetected?
Pretty much, yes.
So would it be not out of the ordinary for you to have to pick him up at a random, or what seemed to be a random location to you?
Correct.
You lived with Messiah for, you said, from about October until January the 9th.
Correct.
So you spent a lot of time around her.
Yes.
You knew her mannerisms.
Yes.
Her demeanor.
Yes.
Her moods.
Yes.
Did anything strike you as out of the ordinary about how she was acting at any point in time in December or January before she disappeared?
No, Desire, nothing has changed. Her character, none of that. She was just the same one as I am. Nothing was different.
Messiah has a brother, right?
Yes,
Is it an older brother?
yes,
No, he had run away in 2023, is that right?
yes.
If it's something that had bothered her or something that she was feeling at the time, could cause a change in her demeanor. She did have a brother that ran away,
Correct.
and was that something that she struggled with?
She didn't like, that her, brother was running away. Yes, she didn't like it.
Around the same time, around the time, December, January, was her mother supposed to come visit, her biological mother?
Yes,
Did she end up coming to see Nasiah?
yes,
She did. Did Nasiah seem to have some big emotions about that contact?
yes,
Is it complicated, fair to say?
yes,
Did she talk to you about that?
all the time.
Did you notice anything? You said you didn't notice anything in a change in mood. So,
No,
what about physically?
no.
I don't have anything else, thank you.
Did you go to the Park Crest Inn on January 9th, 2024?
No. No.
And fair to say, you knew of Mr. Butts having other females,
Yes,
and even some that you didn't know about. Okay, so would it be fair to say that you don't always know, or you didn't always know what Mr. Butts was doing?
no,
You couldn't account for his whereabouts every minute of the day?
no,
Did you know him to, one of those cars that he would use, did you know him to have a white Escalade type truck?
correct, yes,
And you were asking questions about outer drive and south. Fair to say, what I gathered, the only connection you have to that area is drug spots.
correct,
Okay, so he's the only one you would associate with that area.
correct.
Okay, real quick. Someone was asking if they were wondering if he has other charges outside of Nasiah Harris. He was It's been alleged that he was abusing his other daughter, Janaya, I think. I'm not let me not even put a name to it, but those were the two that would come to the shop, Nasiah and Janaya, okay? And then there was a little girl who was the daughter of another one of his girlfriends. So he's standing on 3 victims right now. And also, he's already been convicted of this type of behavior previously. So there's 3 victims right now within active cases.
And you knew Mr. Butts to have other children?
Correct.
Okay, and you knew him to clearly have gotten other women pregnant?
Correct.
And to your knowledge, were all those women adults?
To my knowledge, yes,
Did he, to you, ever hide getting another woman pregnant?
no,
Nothing further direction.
You are going to testify, please stop yourself. Who's going to do the next one? First time. Okay, so we'll do one more witness and then we'll take a break.
At this time, we will call Marilyn Lee.
Raise your right hand.
Please don't tell you, no, okay, nothing, just, please watch yourself.
This is Marilyn Lee.
Thank you, Judge. Could you state your name for the record, ma'am?
Marilyn Lee,
And what do you do for a living?
I'm still up at J.E. Clark School
And how long have you been a substitute teacher at J.E. Clark?
for like 3 years,
How long have you worked at J.E. Clark?
like 25 years.
I want to take your attention back to January 9th and 10th of 2024. During that time, and I guess the months leading up to that, were you familiar with someone by the name of Messiah Harris?
Yes,
And how were you familiar with her?
she was a student at our school
And how long had you known Messiah for?
since first grade,
So, and what grade was she in at that time?
8th grade,
On the 9th. Okay.
8th.
So you've known her roughly for 7 years.
Yes,
You said you're a substitute teacher at J.E. Clark. How do you get assigned to different classrooms?
if a teacher is absent or if they don't prep, then I go to their classroom.
And were you in Messiah's class on January 9th?
Yes,
And were you in Messiah's class on January 10th?
no,
Sorry, were you the teacher assigned to Messiah's class on the 10th?
no,
Okay, who was that teacher?
I don't know.
But you were on the 9th.
Yes,
And on the 9th, was Messiah present in that classroom?
yes.
And do you remember, if you remember, what she was wearing?
I think she had a plaid jacket on and some blue jeans. It was like a winter jacket, but it was like plaid.
May I approach it?
Yes.
I'm approaching it, it's already been admitted as exhibit 12. Do you recognize that photo, man?
Yeah, that's all, yeah.
And that's Messiah?
Yes,
And do you recognize when that photo's from?
no,
Okay. As part of your, if you are going to be a substitute teacher, do you have to take attendance for class?
yes,
And did you do that on January 9th?
yes,
And is there a form that you fill out or handwrite in for taking attendance?
yes, this is one.
May I approach, Judge?
Yes.
I'm approaching you with what's been marked as people's proposed exhibit 31. Hoping you were counting on us waiting for it. Do you recognize that document, Ms. Lee?
Yes,
And is that an attendance document from
Yes.
J.E. Clark?
yes,
And is that for Nizai's class?
yes,
And does that include the dates from the 8th to the 12th of January 2024?
yes,
Move to admit people's proposed 31.
Any objection? No objection. It'll be a minute, People's Exhibit 31.
And on that document, does it say that Nizai was present on January 9th?
yes,
And how is that noted on that form?
a B,
Okay, and that stands for present.
yes,
And does it say she was present on the 10th?
yes,
It does say she was present.
yes,
Was, to your knowledge, she present on the 10th?
no,
How do you know that?
because me and Larry are together every day. She comes to my room to get snacks and she was not there on the 10th.
So you're 100% that she was.
100% sure.
I got it.
Cross.
Mhm.
Hello, Ms. Lee.
Good morning.
So you said that you were a sub at the school for 25 years?
No, I was on the sub for 25, for like 4 years. I've been in the building 25 years.
Okay, so what other roles before you were a sub?
A lunch aide, school facilitator, a parent educator.
Okay, but you referenced seeing Desire almost daily?
Yes,
Okay, so even though you're a sub, you're always present in the
oh yeah,
building?
I'm always in the building.
Okay, and she comes to see you every day?
Yes.
What are those interactions usually like?
Most of the time, me and Lazaya, she comes, she pick up her breakfast. We talk in the hallway for a few minutes. She go to class, then at lunchtime, we see each other again because I have a snack bar in my room, and she usually come in there and get some snacks off the bar.
Okay, so when you say pick up her breakfast, is that part of your role?
No, that's not part of my role. That's in school. They have some breakfast sitting in the hallway, and they just pick their breakfast up.
Okay, but she stops by to see.
Yes, she stops by.
Okay, and does she do that on the 9th?
Yes,
So you were a substitute on the 9th,
yes.
and you said not the 10th.
No,
Were you a substitute prior to the 9th on the 8th?
I'm a substitute every day.
I'm sorry, her specific class.
I can't remember I was in her class and I did it.
Okay, so maybe not regularly meeting up to the 9th.
No. Because I think her teacher was there. Mr. Smith, I think he was there that day.
Okay, do you have an idea of how often you were a substitute in that specific class that year?
Ooh. Whenever Mr. Smith wasn't there, I don't know, maybe once a week.
Okay, so it sounds like the school, maybe they don't use lots of different subs, or is it always you if he's out?
No, we have subs that come in, but I'm what they call a building sub, and I'm just placing that building. But
Okay,
like if there's 5 teachers out there, we might have to have subs.
okay. So there could be subs other than you in that class,
Yes.
but you were there somewhat.
Yes.
So you got to know Desire pretty well between, and did you find that she was acting at all unusual that day?
On the night she came in, she was acting very unusual because she usually just eat. I gave her assignment, she did her assignment, she laid on the floor, which made me really suspect because she never does anything like that. And she said, Miss Lee, I need to go see the counselor. And I told her after we eat breakfast, I see if the counselor is there, but the counselor never came up to see her.
So does that mean that you told the counselor about the observations you made?
No, I've never seen the counselor because she never came up to see us. I guess she wasn't in the building that day.
Okay, does that mean you tried to ask her to come see you?
Yeah, I asked this, the security guard if the counselor come in because she sent her to my room, but she never came in.
Okay, so just the security guard.
Yeah,
Did you tell anyone about what you'd seen other than the security guard?
no,
And then Desire left at the usual time at the end of school?
yeah, at 2:40.
She got on the bus?
Yes,
So other than that behavior, she followed her usual routine?
yes,
And then I know you didn't sub the next day, but you were present in the building on the 10th.
yes.
Did you have any interaction with the police on the 10th?
I can't remember on the 10th. I can't remember.
Did the police ever interview you related to this case?
They came in and they didn't interview me. They just, I think it was Officer Jackson. That's the only person supposed to be.
Do you know when that was?
I can't give you a date, but it was like in, I want to say October.
Okay, October of this past year, 2024,
Yeah, 24.
and that was the first time.
Yes,
Okay, and the only time
until I got the subpoena.
until this is, okay. And you're saying it wasn't really an interview? Well,
No, it wasn't an interview. She just told me that I would have to come to court. That's all she said. She didn't give me no interview.
Okay, just to let you know.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, no further questions. Thank you.
Yeah, very good. You said in October-ish of last year, 24, an Officer Jackson talked to you.
Yes.
Do you know, does Officer Jackson work for the Detroit Public School Department or Detroit Police?
I think Detroit Police Department.
And that was the first time you were contacted?
Yes.
I've never heard of this.
Maybe you are done at the time, please, watch us at. Walk out of the- Okay, I think this is a good time for a break. Back at 1:05,
That was good.
and we anticipated 5 more witnesses. Is that all right?
Yep.
Okay, all right. You're gonna recess until 1:05?
Okay, guys, that was interesting. So later, there's a lot of people that come. I wasn't really prepared to talk about that right now, just because. And then I turned Cece on. Cece was having a hard time, but Cece did her job. She did the best she could. Okay, so here's the judge, the clerk, obviously all the photographers, the press, the prosecutors, Jarvis's people. If you saw Jarvis leave out, let's see. I think we missed Jarvis get up and do his walk of his. They get him in and out of there real fast.
Okay,
Let's see.
all right. You're gonna recess until 1:00.
Oh, I can't make it big because it's already on big mode. Let's see. Try and see if Jarvis walk out. Jarvis was disgusting. Okay, there he goes. Okay, bye Jarvis. Bye-bye. And then the family is exiting. Okay. Clerk, the judge, where the press is sitting over there. Maybe that would be where the jury would normally sit in that courtroom, but that's where the press is stationed at the moment. And Judge Sabri, Judge Aaliyah Sabri. Okay, a lot of information. If you're if you're following this case, I would take some time today if in between whatever else you want to watch. The coverage is there. Next time we come live on this topic, we'll talk about, because I'm almost done. I'm almost done with day 4. I'm getting so they talked to a couple of so they talked to a woman who's got a baby by him. One child, I think a daughter, she's 2. They talked to another woman who was quote unquote his fiance and who didn't have any kids by him. They talked to, there was a lot of information. So once I finish, I'll give you guys a recap of my thoughts on the preliminary hearing as a whole. It's just not humanly possible to broadcast these 14 hours. When he goes to court next week, I will broadcast it live. Because I think his bind over hearing is the 16th. He also has something on the 17th. So I think he's going to be in court 2 days next week. Oh geez. Is that this week already? Wow. Time is flying. Today is the 12th. So that could actually be Thursday and Friday this week. He could be in court. So we'll broadcast those. But if you're following this case again, I encourage you to, because it's a lot. It's a lot. Okay. Let me see what you guys are saying, and then I'm gonna let y'all go. I'm gonna come back later because I've had a couple things I wanted to talk to you guys about for a while outside of this topic. But this obviously definitely caught my attention this week. This is a really interesting case on many different levels. Definitely justice for Naziah Harris. She definitely deserves it. Unfortunately, she had a family situation that was absolutely unsafe and disgusting. I hate it for her. She had a lot of obstacles, but on her last day, at least what we see is her last day, she had a smile on her face. She was taking a selfie, and whatever happened to her, I don't even, it's just awful. It's absolutely awful. And that picture that you see with her sitting in class with the black hoodie, that is her last known selfie. That is, I believe, the hoodie that they found with all the holes in it. So if you're looking at that, if they're comparing and they're able to identify that that is the hoodie that she had on, that the hoodie that they found with the sneaker that appears to be her sneaker that they found, something horrible, we already know something horrible happened for her, but it's absolutely just terrible. And then Jarvis is a whole entire, he is truly, when people use that word sociopath or psychopath or he went to the next level. You know, oftentimes some of these people who are engaged in this type of behavior, they graduate to different levels of their criminality. They grow and grow and grow. And this was the next level. Had they not got him, it would have been more. We don't even know if Naziah potentially could have been the first. There could have been others because he seemed to operate in a lot of secrecy. He was everywhere. He didn't just have a double life. He had quadruple, triple. He had all kinds of situations going on, dealing with all kinds of situations, helping himself to other people's kids. He was hanging out at hotels that frequented all kinds of, from drug trafficking, sex trafficking, God only knows. The man was absolutely out of control. On top of the fact that he should have been registered and they should have been keeping an eye on him, but he fell out of the system by not adequately registering. So he was, you know, he was kind of in between. He fell into a gray area where they couldn't keep up with him because he was not tracking himself. Because at a certain point, if you're on parole or probation, they're watching. But if he fell off parole or probation but was still required to register, and he fell off his registry, then it's just a matter of somebody doing their job to see, oh, we need to go get this person. But those lists are a mile long in some places before they catch up to somebody like that, right? So that's how Jarvis probably was able to get away with being around lots of children, being up in people's homes, helping himself to other people's kids, and continually reoffending. So anyway, that's just kind of my thoughts on that. I appreciate y'all coming through and watching. Everybody who's new here, welcome, welcome, welcome. I'm so glad that you have subscribed to this channel. If you enjoy content like this, make sure your notifications are engaged so that when I go live, post a video, do all the things, you can be notified. Girl, it's the last name, okay? Do you imagine being in prison and your last name is Butts? And shouts out to anybody out here whose last name is Butts. I'm number one, I'm not talking about you. But in a way, I mean, it is, I'm sure, you know, there's a lot of people have awkward last names, okay? So I don't know how he slipped through the cracks. He slipped through, girl, he slipped through a crack, through a window, through the pavement, down the sewer. That man, he slipped through every loophole he could. He really did. Yeah. Well, and it's absolutely negligent, but I think they just, you know, I'm not giving any excuses, but I think this is a long line of people who just it's like the nasty little family secret that this, and we talked about this the other day. I think some Annette and her line, her children and children's children. We don't know what happened with Annette because Annette and Jernell are sisters by father, right? They have the same father. We don't know what Annette was exposed to at her mother's house, but this is like some generations on generations of socialized behavior. It doesn't make it right. It still makes it absolutely wrong. But these, you probably have to do some convincing, or they know it's wrong, but they're trying to get. It's almost like any of you guys who watch the Whitakers on Soft White Underbelly. Now that's a whole nother situation, but you got brothers and sisters, you got a whole eye situation. Okay, you guys know what I'm talking about. Brothers and sisters procreating. Okay, it's absolutely disgusting. And cousins and all of that. I think they know it's wrong, but you got to convince them something is wrong. Before Naziah, her disappearance and ultimately her passing pulled the curtain back on this, They were operating. They were smooth with it. I'm sorry. They were very much giving smooth. They were very much giving and living. The fact that Shannon had baby after baby after baby with a man who's having baby after baby after baby with a bunch of different women, with stories being told about him abusing, because Shannon was abused too, allegedly, right? The mother, the Annette, pregnant at 11 years old. I mean, come on. This is really some nasty work. This is some generational, long-term nasty business, okay? Some of y'all may not even really want to know about, but it's real. It's very much real, okay? Anyway, you guys comment in the comment section. This was let's see, this vile women not only neglect. Yeah, I think they're in another place and space. These women are, look, for all intents and purposes, these ladies are fucked up. You see what I'm saying? To us, I think they still need to be convinced what was going on is absolutely wrong. I think Annette knows, because Annette is a institutionalized benefactor of the system. Okay. Annette runs basically a childcare business, taking care of her children who become guardians, who need guardians because she has done a piss poor job of raising her own kids. Okay. She was fucked up. She got a daughter who got fucked up. Miss Kenyatta. Kenyatta ended up going to jail. I looked that up yesterday. I haven't gotten all the way into it, but Kenyatta had to go to prison, y'all. Okay. Kenyatta was in jail, and Kenyatta had poor, Naziah out of a improper relationship with a dude named Mervin. Okay. Mervin was on the news talking about that's why he's going back into ministry. Okay. So Mervin has passed away. But if you Google Mervin Jenkins, you'll see when they talk to him, the man had congestive heart failure, had a stroke, all kinds of stuff. He was in poor health. Mervin's gone, but Mervin had a whole wife and a family when Kenyatta got pregnant with Mr. Mervin. Okay. And they say, according to the aunties, if you didn't watch Friday night, watch Friday night with the aunt and the cousin. According to Journell, Kenyatta was abused at 13. And she had her own set of issues. She had her own set of criminal issues. And Naziah ended up getting adopted by her grandmother. And Mr. Mervin hadn't seen Naziah in 8 years. By the time she was missing, he hadn't seen her in 8 years. He did put himself on child support. By the time he put himself on child support, that's how his wife found out that he had fathered a child. Okay? That's how she found out that not only was he laying and playing, but he also made a baby. Like, girl, I could go on. Yesterday, I was all up in trying to get this information for y'all to make it make sense. But y'all watch the preliminary hearing regarding this particular matter. But there are 2 other active victims. There could be more to step up. But this guy, Jarvis, is a serial problem, and they can't let him out. The man is a mess. For him to have such disrespect for these women he was laying with, on top of the fact, thought it was a good idea to search home remedies for pregnancy termination. He was trying to not get caught, because as a repeat offender, if Naziah had had a baby, it would have been a problem. Okay. And that was, I believe it. I believe it, Tiny. I believe it, because on Friday, when we were talking about it and hearing Journell and Kawana, based on what I heard, that was the vibe I got. Jarvis seemed to be Jarvis seemed to be the type of guy, he could come in and get what he wants. Okay. Even to the point where I think he might have even been caking Annette off in her pockets, because Annette seems like the type, if you go even to that refrigerator and try to get an apple juice, you need to pay $20. Okay. Anyway, guys, you guys have a awesome Sunday. I'll be back. And we'll talk about this tomorrow because I got a lot of information. I just need to sort through, but I'm not gonna, we'll talk about it tomorrow. But yeah, Kenyatta spent some time in jail, and when she was incarcerated and through her that was the time where her mom had to take on guardianship because Mervyn went around. Okay, Mervyn was not there. Okay. Okay. I don't know if you can hear the dogs in the background, but baby, my husband, we de-Christmas today. Christmas is over for Christmas is done. My husband is outside taking down the lights and taking down our outside decorations, and Lambo is having FOMO. He wants to get outside in the front yard, which is a no-no. He's relegated to the backyard. That's probably why she sounded so defensive on the stand. They're defensive because they've painted themselves into a corner, and I'm sure they know that people are watching and there's a spotlight. And when you have a government situation where you are accepting government funds, you're on, I don't know if the lady's on Section 8 or not, but you got kids that are wards of the state who either you adopted, so they might get a Social Security check. You might get some sort of a check for foster kids. You got a whole situation where you get inspections and have to keep up certifications for the people that live up under your roof. Come on. She got to tell that story just right, because that's gonna impede her food stamps. That's gonna impede her paycheck. Because don't think foster parents don't get a check. They get a check for upkeep and of the kids and all of that. Well, I guess they get one full check, right? I knew someone once upon a time who foster cared, and I guess you get one check, and out of that, everything, okay? Annette is a professional grandmother, okay? And Shannon is on her way. But at the end of the day, I think that, like I said, they are the type of females that create guardianships and create children with disabilities. So whether exposing them to things, and then they end up with mental disabilities because they have seen and done way too much, that the kids start to check out. Okay. So you get them in foster care, you get Social Security checks because people are passing away. You get Section 8, you get all kinds of whatever kind of government check she can get up off those kids. I believe Annette and Shannon are from that. Now, Marquita, I don't know enough about what's going on with Marquita or Marquetta. Look, if I pronounce the name wrong, it's because I pronounced it wrong. I'm not trying to be disrespectful. It happens, okay? It happens. But the twin to Miss Shannon, I think it's Marquetta. It's either Marquetta or Marquita. We don't know too much about her. Okay. And Kenyatta is alive. So for anybody who's wondering, is Kenyatta alive or is she deceased? Kenyatta is alive and well. It's Mr. Mervyn, who was in his 50s. Mervyn, who was an older dude himself. Let's just put it this way too. Mervyn did put himself on child support, but I don't really know how old Mervyn was versus how old Kenyatta was. But there was definitely some age difference. When you see Mervyn, I don't know his exact age. I have to look at his obituary, but there's a couple Mervyn Jennings in Detroit. So you're looking for the one. If you do Google it, there's news stories because they, of course, attached him to Nazea, and he spoke to the news and all of that kind of stuff prior to his passing. And I think there was maybe a more senior. I don't know if that was his dad or not, because it's exact spelling of Murvin type thing. Anyway, guys, I'm gonna let y'all go. Hit the thumbs up for me. I appreciate it. How did Butts have the time? Girl, he would be at the shop. Okay, let's talk about that for a minute. Jarvis would be at the shop. Jarvis would have his daughter and Naziah there. So he'd have his daughter and the niece of his girlfriend. I don't consider Naziah Jarvis's niece because you're not married to the woman. You get to be an uncle when you marry the lady, okay? You fathered the kids, so that is your baby mama's niece. Okay? Jarvis was really not her uncle. Okay? He had them girls, so he had Shannon's daughter and Shannon's niece being the two young ladies in question right now who he has active cases on over to the garage. So he would be getting Jennings. You got it right the first time. Jennings, not Jenkins. Jennings. I showed it at the end of the video yesterday. I showed his picture and the spellings on there. Mervyn, Murvin, Jennings, Ings. He would have girls over to the shop. Let me tell you, his baby mama with the 2-year-old, I don't have my notebook in front of me right now. The lady with the short haircut. She met him at the shop. She met him at Frank's. The other lady, his so-called fiance, met him at Frank's. So is it Cassia? Cassia, how did he have time? He met everybody up at the shop. So I don't know what he was doing. I don't know what he was doing, how he was doing it, but he was meeting people up at the shop. Then he had people he dealt with where the fiance said he would come over around 6, maybe somewhere 6 through 10. He would leave at like 2, 3 in the morning. Girl, he wouldn't even park in the driveway. She realized he was parking around the corner. He would come up like he walked over to her house. Girl, he would park around the corner. So if his women were trying to find him, baby, he's around the corner and down the street. So when they were talking about, would you pick up Jarvis from random locations where you didn't know where he was? Yes. So he would park in different places, go see a lady, go spend a few hours and bounce and go to the next one. But they say that he actually really lived with a lady named Angel. Now, we hadn't met Angel yet, or at least I hadn't. I still got one more day of testimony to go through. So I don't know if Angel comes to testify or not, but if this preliminary is any indication, baby, it's going to be so many people coming to testify about this dude. It's going to be ridiculous. Okay. So allegedly he was living with Angel. He was spending time with Shannon. He was over there with the fiance. So the lady, just to put you in the mind, the lady, she'll talk about it on the stand. I can't think of her name right now, so just forgive me. At the end of the day, this is the lady who has a child, has a daughter, a 2-year-old with him, but she has like a 5 or 6-year-old son at the time. And that's the little boy that found the clear glasses in the back seat of her car. And she didn't think anything of it. And this is before she even knew Naziah was missing. So she went up to the shop for a reason. Her son found the glasses in the back seat, put them on his face. She turned around, saw him with a random pair of glasses and was like, take those glasses off your face. She takes the glasses. Jarvis hears her and snatches the glasses from ma'am's hand. And she didn't think anything else about it until the police came to her house questioning her about what she knew. Did she loan Jarvis the car, X, Y, and Z? And then realized when she saw the girl's picture, those might be those same glasses. She just knew her son had something that didn't belong to her, any of them. By the time he took them off and she said what she said, take those glasses off, Jarvis grabs them out of her hand and he said, those are my son's glasses. So she didn't think anything of it because he got about 11 kids. Okay. Anyway, we can go on and on and on. I need my notes. Girl, the notes. I have like 6 pages of notes. Just ridiculous. Okay. Anyway, y'all, hit the like button for me. Share this out. Facebook, share me out. YouTube, share me out. I appreciate it. Hit the thumbs up for me, and we will get together on this again very soon. And I will see you guys a little bit later on. Okay. You guys take care. Have a good Sunday. And I will talk to you later. Bye, guys.